Welcome to the Husk Guys Podcast. Oh, yeah!
What's up, everybody? It is Wednesday, November 20th, and it is Wisconsin week. We are somehow miraculously and impossibly coming off a fourth straight loss, which has just put me in the foulest of moods of all time. But we're going to work through it. We're going to try to spin some positive vibes for you. We really got to beat Wisconsin. We need a bowl so badly. We need a win. We need something so desperately badly. Shockingly, how we cannot find ways to win. But I'm here with my brother, Andrew. Andrew, how are you tonight on a Wednesday evening of Wisconsin week?
Yeah, good. I mean, I'm
You're not good. You have to lie. You're not good.
Oh no, I'm not doing great, but I slowly recovering, going through recovery mode and stuff here. I really hate how much there's been a lot of fans that have just gotten to that kind of like, well, that's what we do, and that's who we are. And I don't love watching what you're doing on Twitter because all of it's very true. It's all very true. And we're sorry to the fans that rely on Kool-Aid. There was none this week, and but we're gonna bring it back. We're gonna bring it back.
But I think it's important to do. You got to do like a little catharsis.
You got to rinse. You got to rinse. I can't. Our way of rinsing is every single bad stat that you didn't want to read today. It's coming out. It's coming out whether you like it or not.
I can't. I hit a certain point in the season where I can't just be like, yeah, you know what, we're gonna get him next week. Like at a certain point, you're like, yeah, you know what, actually, Matt Rule has never won a game in November. That is a fact. Jesus. That is like absolutely.
That's one of those numbers. You didn't want to hear that.
All right, we're gonna spin this first. We're gonna jump in a second. All right, first we're kicking off. Here's the positive news because I've started to get excited about this, and I've even started I got off-season championship gear on. I got Nebraska gear going.
Let's get it.
I'm excited because we have Christmas is coming up. Pipeline Jerky, pipeline-jerky.com is a great gift to give for Christmas time. We blow up every Christmas time. We need to win really badly or else no one's going to buy anything. But,
sales are going to tank.
Great stocking stuffer, pipeline-jerky.com. We've got gift boxes. We've got stocking stuffers. We got all kinds of cool stuff coming up for Christmas time. So check out pipeline-jerky.com for the gift boxes. They make great gifts, truly, for the Husker fan in your life, especially for the dads of the 90s who understand what the pipeline is. Check that out. Secondly, I'm pumped about this. We have got some awesome we have put our brains together and created some very, very cool gift boxes for Christmas time as well. All of this is Husker-related licensed theme gear. We got the awesome, it's my favorite hat, this Nebraska Huskers gear. This is the 90s hat that they were selling at the Colorado game? I think they were selling this hat. We got a bunch of them. We're putting them in the Husker Dad Cave crates. We made a Husker throwback time machine gift box with Tom Osborne's book in it, that 90s hat. We've got Husker Fanatic gift boxes. We've got Herbie Husker golf packages. We've got about a dozen different gift boxes on huskguysstore.com. So check out huskguysstore.com. We got some great shirts that are loaded up for Christmas time. The gift boxes are ready to go. So Black Friday is next Friday, and Cyber Monday is the Monday after. So get loaded up on some Huskers gear, huskguysstore.com.
Little retail therapy. Retail
therapy. Husker stuff's good. It's good for the rest of your life.
What do you do when your team is stinking it up? You buy more. You double down.
More gear. And you buy cool. If you buy cool gear, you might be able to flip
the
vibes.
Gear. Don't get the stupid stuff. Get
the cool gear. Shirt. Dana Mania. Get a Huskers hat. Get a cool. I really like this hat. I wear this hat all the time. This is a just straight up Nebraska hat. And then, we got Pipeline Jerky covered. Underdog Fantasy. We're going to talk about it at the end because we actually got some live stats to run through. Use Husk Guys for a 50% deposit match. We got hundreds of you guys that have joined us already.
I got some juicy bets down already.
We got juicy bets down. I actually feel really confident about a bunch of the bets for our line now that I know how we're going to play. A lot of unders for our stat line coming up. But use Husk Guys. You get 50% deposit match. So you put $1,000 in, they'll give you 500. That's like free gambling money. It's great. Bet on the over-unders on the players for the Huskers players, wide receivers, running backs, as well as the opponents. It's a good time. It's good fun. And we're running a bunch of different Husk Guys events. So DM us if you want to join in. All right. we got to get some therapy going, rip the Band-Aid off, and then we're going to get into positive vibes. But therapy-wise, obviously, we're coming off another 28-20 debauchery loss to USC. It is, debauchery. I can't even say the words. But it's like
was after we lost.
Debauchery was after. God, the spreadsheet of pain was added. That it's just like everybody has these like tweets ready. People have these stats ready. It's like we've got the most one-score losses for 1 season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons. I mean, it's 34, 40, 50, 51 score losses in the last like 10 seasons. It's just absolutely astounding. And then the spreadsheet of pain, for those who are not looking at this, like this is a stat that looks at, there have been 36 drives over the last, since 2016, 36 drives since 2016 where we have a chance to tie or win the game. And they've resulted in 14 turnovers, over 10 different quarterbacks, 17 different opponents, and 1 win. So it's 36 game-winning drive opportunities, and we've won 1 time. And this was another one. We drove the length of the field, had the chance to throw and, tie the game. Don't do it. Obviously, there's a pass interference there. We can get into that. That's like super frustrating. But like, to me, there was, and this is where I just like the catharsis of this all is like, this game was lost well before that. And that was a lot more frustrating to me. Like immediately after, I actually turned it off right after the interception. I didn't even get to be a part of like the immediate, like, oh my gosh, there was pass interference on that last play, which there was. It was a blatant pass interference. But like even if they'd called the pass interference, we would have had to score on that play and then complete the 2-point conversion and then win in overtime, which is something we haven't done in 10 years. So like, it's not like a guaranteed victory to do that. But I went back and like rewatched the game and I charted this, and like this is the stuff to me where you could see this, like you can see the 1-score game start to fall apart on us well earlier than the last drive of the game. And
you're saying to yourself before it even happens, you're saying like in the third quarter, you're like, if that turns this into a 1-score game, we're screwed.
Yeah, and so we're tied at halftime. And this is what kills me about these games is we're in the games and we're like USC has way more talent than us. Deuce Robinson is significantly better than anybody on our roster. Like their wide receivers are faster, their running backs are faster, but they were not a very good team. That you're like after that first probably 2 or 3 drives, I was like, this, Maya is not good. This is not a good quarterback. After the pick 6, I was like, this guy is throwing jump balls, right? And so all throughout the first half, I was like, this is not a very good USC team. They're not like that well coached. Their defense isn't that good. And so you're at this 14 point at halftime. And this is where you're like, okay, we're in this game because they're not that good, but also they have more talent, blah, blah, blah. What kills me is then as you enter into the third quarter in a 1-score game, this is where to win a 1-score game, you need to play flawlessly. You need to have a strong game plan. You need to not make mistakes, and you can't have like the refs, but like all of those things every single time, like all go against us. And like the ones I itemized here, there's the fumble recovery in the third quarter, which is a huge break that goes our way. That's a huge break. So you can't this is a game where we blocked a kick and we had a pick 6 and we recovered a fumble. You should win that game. But the fumble recovery, right? Like those are 3 ridiculous things that we did. Fumble recovery in the third quarter. If he I looked at the replay, I guess he stumbled for the potential touchdown return on the fumble. Like he ended up getting his finger on him. That's a play. You got to make that play. Like I hate to tell the defense, like, hey, you need a pick 6 and a fumble recovery for a touchdown, but you kind of do because the offense can't score. And so that's play number 1 where that could be 24-21. And instead you kick a field goal, right? That's a game-changing play. You go up 24-21. This quarterback's now had a pick 6 and a fumble return for a touchdown. He's going to be in outer space. Right. Instead, it's 21-20. Not that big of a deal, right? The next one, that was another one that was just like, oh my gosh, was James Williams. This is way late in the game. This is on the game-winning drive. Game-winning drive for USC. They march down the length of the field. They go 80 yards. But James Williams on a 3rd and 10, complete sack, like blows up Mayava, forces the fumble. It like bounces straight up in the air, hits Our guy in the face mask, now I can't even remember who hit him in the face mask, hits him in the face mask.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't bat it down. He doesn't knock it out of the air. He doesn't catch it. He doesn't turn that into a pick six. That turns into, they catch it, run it for first, or that was the play that got to 4th and 1. Then they ran the option play, which is a brilliant play called by Lincoln Riley. They run that for another 20-yard gain. They score, game over. But that's 2 in a row, right? Oops. And then I guess, and then I went way back. It was Javen. Yeah, Javen Wright. The ball that went through Hartzog's fingers for the USC touchdown. That one was insane. But then the other one was the wasted timeout and the fake punt, which Rule has come out and explained it. I still don't like it at all. But all of these things happened in every one of them, you're watching it and you're like, okay, that bounced off his forehead and he was able to, force the fumble. That happened. They should have, if they had scored on that play, if the ball hadn't gone through Hartzog's fingers for an interception and ended up as a touchdown, that's 3. If he blocks the field goal on the offense, that's what it was. Sierra Wright blocked the field goal. We went 4 and out on the next drive. Didn't capitalize at all on a blocked field goal. And then the whole debacle with Rule's wasted timeout on the fake punt, where he goes out, calls timeout in a crucial 1-score game. He calls timeout. Yeah, I get it. They were not in the right formation to call the fake punt. Then he brings the offense out there, and they don't do anything. They just stand around in circles. So that to me was the summary of that's a bad coaching call. Followed with 3 players not failing to make plays, and then you compound that with holding calls that are not being called and defensive pass interferences, and it's that happens every week, every game for 10 years. That's the stuff that just drives you nuts.
52 1-score losses in 15 seasons.
It's insane.
Do you know how much sadness that is?
I know. I've lived through it.
You know how much just hope and that has been murdered. It's truly unbelievable. It seems that we are really good at finding ways to lose. The thing, when Rule talks and when he speaks, we're all about this winning culture and then championship culture and finding that extra gear. And it just seems like when the chips are down, there's still something missing. Nothing's changed from the Frost era till now in that 4th quarter in those crucial circumstances. Nothing. You can't. I mean, I like to think that what he's saying and how they're practicing and the 2-minute drill and all of that stuff, but the results aren't there, and that's what is absolutely eating my soul. I like to think that Holgerson can come in, and he's my hope right now.
Yeah.
Let him have the keys. He has called some of the best offenses of all time. He's going to say things that are going to piss people off. He's going to say things that are, maybe going to run some players off the team, and that's going to suck. Absolutely. But what we're doing right now makes it look like we are going in without a game plan to win the game.
Nothing.
When we have 3rd and short and we need these conversions, there was a point when we were 3 for 10 on 3rd downs against USC. I don't know what we finished at, but you can't do that. And simultaneously, USC was right around 50% or more. So those few first downs end up being a huge difference down the line.
Yeah. We just fall apart the second half drives, that first drive, the second half.
The final thing too is what was USC's longest drive of the entire game?
The last
drive, and it was
right down our throats.
14 plays, and the defense, we were bending but not breaking. We had a couple of fortunate outcomes. USC had untimely penalties. They're undisciplined, as Andrew Hermes commented here too. But the defense has struggled with that over the last 2 seasons as well. Yeah. Is in that 4th quarter, those crucial last drive, overtime. I mean, it started this year with overtime against Illinois. We need you right now. I know we've leaned on you all game. We've put way too much pressure on you. The offense stinks, but right now you need to have your best drive of the game,
and they don't,
or your best stop of the game. and a 13-play drive by USC.
I mean, that happens every
To
game.
seal,
It's
to
Illinois. It
seal the
happened
game.
against UCLA. It happened against
So it's
USC.
like it's both sides of the ball. The offense is very lost, but like hiring Dana with 3 games to go and ideally hiring him for a little bit longer term is the hope that we still need.
Yeah, it's
I guess
hard
the
to
only
even
other thing
say.
is that like we seemed to be focused on like quick completions and getting the ball out faster, and I liked that. And Rayola's completion percentage immediately went up. However,
Yeah.
he had 27 completions and averaged like 5 yards per pass play, and that's just not enough.
Well, it's hard to like even figure out which side of the ball is more frustrating because I like the defense. They usually like end up with a more like benefit of the doubt because they make like good plays throughout the course of a game. And even as I look at like the drive chart that's coming from USC, they start with a punt, then it goes pick six, then they scored, then they go touchdown, but then our defense goes force a punt, force 3 straight punts. Right. So in that first half, we forced 3 punts and we had a pick six, and then we forced 4 punts and a pick six in the first half. Great.
And you go into half tied.
Going to half tied, and then in the second half drives, force a fumble and the block to kick. So that's like 8 of those drives against one of the a very, very good Lincoln Riley coached offense.
The top 15 passing offense up until this game.
Top 15 passing offense with a quarterback that had 3,000 yards last year and 5 5-star wide receivers. That's pretty good. But to your point, when the chips are down and you're down 1 in the fourth quarter,
1 point,
13-play, 84-yard drive for 739 is like
right. Like we had them on their 15 or something.
Oh, 84-yard drive. I mean, but it was just hot knife through butter. It was like
imagine if you stop them. Imagine if you stop them within their own 20. Right, you're getting the ball on the
get the ball, kick a field goal, win the game.
Like that's it.
Yeah, and that's a killer. But then I think the offense probably ends up being more frustrating because those second quarter drives, we have that great drive to start with the field goal, and then you go punt, 4-and-out punt, 4-and-out field goal. After the fumble was a 4-and-out field goal, 4-and-out punt, and then 13-play intercept. I mean, those are just terrible drives. 5 straight terrible drives in the second half. Again, chips are down, and they just like freak out. On your point on this is what I was going to ask too. Like, so Jalen Lloyd finally got the ball in the last drive for the first time ever.
Yeah.
What's been one of the most frustrating parts of this, and maybe Dana will fix it, is like we've completely lost the long ball in any capacity. Like I just think back of even like if I'm going into this offseason and I want to win another offseason national championship, like I've got I don't even have exciting plays to look at all off season, right? Like literally, like if we shift into like the Wisconsin-Iowa game, like if we win either of these games, I will have enough content to like carry everybody through to get us to be top 10 next year. But like even Harburg last year would throw a deep ball, and like we would take the defense, take the top off the ball, like anything. But we have this quarterback who has probably the best arm in all of college football, and he never throws deep ever.
Here's something that has bothered me with Jalen Lloyd, who I now mistakenly, I guess, picked as my breakout receiver of the year. He has 11 catches on the season. Do you know what his average is per catch?
It's like a first down every catch, isn't it?
21.82 yards per catch.
Yeah, but don't throw it out. Now here's what's frustrating.
He has not had more than 3 receptions in a game. He has had, so going backwards, USC 1 catch, UCLA 0 catches, Ohio State 1 catch for -1 yards. Thank you. 3 catches against Indiana was his peak. 2 catches against Rutgers. The rest of the games, 1 catch. Actually, against UTEP, somehow he had 0. So he gets a catch per game, but he's averaging 21.82 yards per catch. Like,
but I get like
this is a guy that's on your roster. He's going to get open. We have to find ways to get your playmakers the ball.
I don't even know if he has to get open, but like once a game, just let Rayola let it rip and throw it 70 yards.
She's literally a track star. Like, he's the fastest player on the field.
Let him absolutely launch it. Because like other than that, the whole offense is just these weird checkdowns. It's like check down, quick slant, check down. I'm like, he's got a bazooka.
Yeah.
And we're just doing like check down, sack. Like it's a clunky offense. And like
our ability to push the ball down the field was our strong suit in the first month. And for the last 2 months, it has been our weakness.
Well, and so
the main thing missing from the offense, like leading up all the way through the Illinois game, we felt very confident that like with one throw, Raiola could change everything.
Yes.
And right now, because we don't have a run game either, we have said, okay, then what's Raiola going to do? And if the answer is check it down to your running back, our running backs had 9 catches. Our running backs had 1/3 of the catches against USC. We had 27 completions. Our running backs had 9 of the catches. And like, that's good, I guess, if you're, Woody Marks taking it like all the way down the field. But if you're taking it for a couple yards at a time, it's just a little completion. And it's like, you might as well run it for 3 yards instead of throw a completion for 3 yards. I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I think back to your Dana point in the beginning, and this is where like, he's going to have to show something in the next 2 games to get people excited. Otherwise, it's like kind of more of the same. But like his press conference was going viral like crazy because he was kind of the first one. He's like the first one to come in and say what we've been saying all season.
Sure.
He's like, what is this? Like,
he was disgusted.
You could totally tell he was like, he had a bunch of viral quotes. Like one of them was, make sure I got it right here, but he said, he's like, I looked at the wide receivers and I was like, you guys are big guys. Why are you not blocking worth of crap on the perimeter? It's embarrassing, right? Like that's a great quote. And that's true. Cause it's like, and maybe you need a seasoned guy to come in because they're not listening to Satterfield, and Satterfield lost the locker room, and Holgorsen comes in and is like, dude, Jamal Banks, and Banks is the worst perimeter blocker of all time. So is Nair. They're both terrible perimeter blockers. And maybe he comes in and is like, what are you guys doing? Like, why are we not blocking the perimeter? But he also said, he's like, we've got running backs that can't make anybody miss. We've got wide receivers that don't block on the perimeter. And he said, we have wide receivers that can't get open on man coverage. Yep. We've been saying that all season. And so for him to come in is like kind of validating, being like, yeah, duh. We've like, but also like, what can he, I think we're naive to be like, oh yeah, he's just going to come in with a magic wand. Like he went 4-8 last year at Houston and got fired. So it's not like he's like he isn't a miracle worker, but can he like go to Texas and get us some talent? Like, can he bring back some of that magic that he had for all of his great offenses? Hopefully. Hopefully he sticks around. Like, we don't even know if he's going to be here next year. Nobody knows what's going on.
I know. So here, like the obvious positives of bringing in Dana are that you get somebody that, for those that like were unaware of him historically, he's a disciple of Mike Leach, who was kind of an outspoken guy. Dana Holgorsen also does not really hold punches, and some like that, some do not. What that's going to lead to is, you hate to say it, but there probably is going to be a little bit of divisiveness in the locker room. Like there's going to be some guys that don't take well to what he's saying. Like there's going to be some guys that hear what he just said in the press conference. Malachi Coleman, the news broke today on Twitter. I don't think it's like widely publicized.
It's not official yet.
I don't even know if it's official, but the rumors are that Malachi Coleman's leaving the team. And that is a guy that is a Lincoln dude. He's a homegrown kid, super involved in the community. The timing of it is suspicious that like Holgorsen comes in and 1 week later, this guy that had waited all year was, is redshirting, which was a suspicious decision, I guess, as is. I didn't honestly love it because I think he's a playmaker and I think he could have been out there, but he got jumped by the transfers that came in. He was biding his time on the bench. And if he's transferring right away, you just wonder who's going to be following suit.
He was hurt for half the season, but yeah, it's not. You can't.
Yeah. The plan since August was to redshirt him like that. Yeah. I guess for that, I'm like, you want to see a 6'4" guy that runs a 10-4 100, like you see him out on the field. And for some reason, he couldn't get out there. He started playing like 2-3 games ago, and we just haven't seen him out of receiver at all. Like, he hasn't jumped anybody. He was supposed to be a good perimeter blocker and everything as well too. Like, so I think Dana coming in does two things. One, it could provide an electric spark. It could provide new eyes. It could provide somebody that, just like Mike Leach used to do, rest in peace, love that guy. He used to call it kind of how it was, and he used to just not really hold those punches back. And truthfully, there are people that handle criticism well, and there are some that might not. It is a slight change in the culture. He's good friends with Rule. Rule's still the CEO and everything, but you do have to wonder, like, if Mal Coleman's transferring, like, who's following suit? And secondly, the corollary to that is, who do we just kind of like need to cut weight with? and just kind of say, this ain't working right now, and go out and be aggressive in the transfer portal.
I mean, who are you?
To get guys that fit Holgerson's vision.
Who besides Raiola? And Raiola's had a rough month. There's no way around it. Who besides Raiola are you like, we got to absolutely keep this person?
Well, I think
Ja'Cory Barney.
No, I mean, I think it's your young receivers. Yeah, so like Ja'Cory, I mean, Demetrius Bell is hurt, but like, we heard great things about him. He's got a bright future. Like, you don't want to see guys like him leave. I would say Dowd also, like, I mean, he called him out, right? And he still has a bright future. Like, he might be totally correct that, like, he's not seeing these holes. What if we can coach him up? What if I can change him? What if I can get him into a little bit of a better offensive system? He's got the tools. He's got the ability. I mean, same with guys like Emmett Johnson. Like, I think that he can be a great asset. I think that him and Dowdle can be a good tandem for 2 more years. But they got to be put in the right system. They got to be put in the right places. And, like, the O-line is going to be completely revamped. And then the defense is maybe another story. But anyway.
I guess I just look at it like, nobody wanted Banks and Naylor to work more than we did. And, like, they're fine. But, like, they're not getting open. They're fine. They've been kind of fine all season. Barney's got that extra spark. Jalen Lloyd's got that extra spark. I think Bell's got that extra spark. Dowdell's been fine. He's been fine. Sure. He's not like, he hasn't had a single 100-yard rushing game all season. So it's not like he's just not like in a Zigbo. He's not like a, one of those guys that you can kind of lean on. Does that running back even exist? Can he be coached up? Maybe. I don't know. I think that's kind of like the big question, but that's where I kind of like look at him like, we're not going to have a single all Big Ten player on the whole roster. So it's, it's besides Ty Robinson, probably, Nash, and Ty and Nash. I guess I'm not even talking about the defensive side. I'm more just focused on the offensive side. We're not going to have any all Big Ten players or first, second, or third team. So like, that's where you're like, all right, there's no, besides Raiola, you're not like, I don't know. If Holgerson's like, we're going to get 15 new wide receivers, it'd be like, sweet.
But I have no idea how they grade O-linemen, but I would say Ben Scott has been very, very reliable. Yeah. Remember when we used to snap the ball just like 70 yards over our quarterback's head?
No.
We haven't done that.
That's
a new way to lose that we haven't done this year.
All right, I do want to, because this. Oh shoot, I'm not screening, but pivoting into, I want to get into Wisconsin. I'll make sure we get in covering this.
Okay.
But
should we just yell at the refs for 1 second?
We got to yell at the refs for 1 second. So I mean, I truly so stupid. Okay, I want to take this, like, we have to fully like take accountability and say, like, we listed 50 different reasons why we're not winning games. Like, we're not, correct. We're calling timeouts at the wrong time. We are not making plays when we need to, like, all of those things. Those to me need to be addressed way more than this. But when you compound all of those things with the fact that I've got 6 screenshots here from the games against Ohio State and USC in very critical downs.
Huge.
Like, every one of these is on a critical down, not getting called holding. Like, if you compound the fact that we can't make extra plays, and like, if you're just winning a game, it doesn't matter, and like, these plays are negligible. But like, a lot of these, this is, even going around here, this is a this is the game-winning play or the game-tying play was a definitive hold at the last play of the game, right? But then one of the other ones on Banks was right after the blocked field goal. This was a holding call in the top right. Jamal Banks was held. His entire jersey almost came off. No call. Would have been a first down. Kick the field goal, right? But that's another one. Like, does that flip the entire game? All of a sudden you go up 24-21, and then the Ohio State game, there's about a half dozen of those, which maybe we never win that game. I don't know. But like when you're getting on these third down calls that are the difference between your drive continuing and you being in a position to score or put up points or punt, these are big plays.
Yeah.
And that to me is like, that's been hard to like stomach, is like a team that really needs like a lot of breaks to not only get no breaks, but to have negative breaks is like killer for this team.
Yeah. It's just that little extra that it's like, we really, really, really need you guys to be calling a clean game right now. Like we just, like at a minimum, don't screw us. Like that.
Well, and that's
just like maybe a little, but like evenly. I don't know, like a couple bad calls for them, a couple bad ones for us. Like that's, we'll take a wash.
But even it's like even like Lord, you call the mugging at the end of the game, and then we still don't score, or we miss the 2-point conversion. Fine, we lost the game. We didn't win. But like when your players get mugged in the end zone, it's like,
you just gotta see it. You just gotta see it. I mean, like these are points being taken off the board, and it's just like, it's annoying to me that the story can even become about the refs at all. Like we don't need another outlet to just express our pure Husker corn-fed rage. Like we need to be focused on Rayola can't hit open receivers. We need to be focused on our running game is very inconsistent. We need to be focused on our defense can't seem to get off the field in critical situations. I would love to leave the refs out of the conversation. I would love to just have one game go by where we're just like, we're just frustrated with ourselves. But like, then you just throw this extra little bit in there and we're like, God, man, like, it's another game.
It's just like, if he's even if he's had come on, like,
it's a problem around the entire league. Like it's not even just us. It's crazy.
I mean, I'd say Andrew Hermes coming in here. Andrew Hermes coming in saying the officiating around the league has been garbage. Miami should have 3 losses, which I agree with. Big Ten seems to be the worst offender this year. I agree. I mean, I think it's been trash. Let's pivot. Let's. All right, the refs are done. They stink. Hopefully, then it doesn't fall apart again.
They're going to bring their best to Lincoln this weekend. I just know they're sending their best.
We got Wisconsin coming to town, and Wisconsin. I struggled with this. Of like, even in the pregame pod, it's like as you're trying to pump as much Kool-Aid into the universe as we can. Like, we have not beat Wisconsin since 2012, which is insane. 2012, the year that we beat them. We then went to the Big Ten championship, the game that I was at. I don't think you were not at that. We lost 70-21. It was like the worst game of all time. And we haven't beat them since then, which is insane. Like they literally just broke us. But I will say that I started looking at the games, like the last 3 years, we have had I looked at the ESPN trajectories, like we've been 80% plus chance to win each of the last 3 years. And they've resulted in pretty standard back-breaking Huskers losses, just devastating, right? Where like last year, game-winning drive ends in a field goal with 4 seconds left, but we had the chance to game. If we scored a touchdown, we would have won the game. Lost in overtime. 2 years ago, we had a 14-3 lead. Trey Palmer had 2 touchdowns. We were in complete control of the game late in the fourth quarter. Gave up 2 touchdowns or a bunch of field goals. Lost 15-14. And then in 2021, we had the game-tying touchdown with 6 minutes left in the game, and then they marched down the field and scored right after that, 35-28. Lost 3 straight one-score losses. But this Wisconsin team is in an interesting spot because, and I kind of did the same thing I did last week, or I listened to the USC podcast. This team's in the dumps. I mean, they're not they're kind of right on the cusp of Fickle being on not hot seat watch, but they're like, he's 12-10 in 2 seasons. And what's rules 10-11 or something, 10-12, and he's 12-10. Like they're right in sort of the same spot from what we thought Fickle was going to be. And I really wanted Fickle. Like I thought he'd be a slam dunk in Nebraska. it's kind of peculiar for them. They just fired their offensive coordinator this week, Phil Longo. They're in a precarious spot. They've lost 3 straight games. So it's definitely not the like Wisconsin of old. This is a team that's 5-5 right now. They just lost to, the hard part is they just lost to Oregon, who's the number 1 team in the country, who they should have beaten, which is not great. But then they lost to Iowa before that, lost to Penn State. So they've got 2 losses to top 4 teams in the last 3 weeks. But they got boat raced by Iowa. They also have losses to Alabama, and they also got crushed by USC. So, I don't know. What do you think of these guys? Like the Wisconsin fans are pretty down on the team. They're down on the offense. They're kind of down on Fickell. And like this fits into the category of like, God, if we could just get it together.
Take it. Oh my God, just take it. Like, holy cow. Yeah, my entire mentality has changed as the week has gone on, because like right after USC, I would have just been like, there's no way we're winning another game. But then the Lord has gifted us a team in complete turmoil. Phil Longo getting fired, 2 games left. I was just reading through Pick 6, so just like to back things up for like where Wisconsin is at and where they've been. Their first year under Fickell was also kind of traumatizing. They also were 5-5 at a point last year. They're 5-5 right now. Yet again, their fans aren't seeing any signs of progress. They're not scoring in the course of like this last month. They were the 8th most run-heavy offense in Power 5 in 22. In 2023, they swung to the 18th most pass-heavy play calling offense. I had tweeted a couple of stats, like they've only run for over 200 yards. I mean, this is Wisconsin football. They've only run for 200 yards 6 times over the last 2 seasons. They've only run for over 200 yards twice this year. Granted, Nebraska's not been doing too much better here in the same regard, running the football. But like with this whole shift for Wisconsin, and then now Fickell was hired. I mean, he's like a defensive guru, and Fickell, I understand, might be calling the offensive plays this week.
Well, his quote from his quote early in the week was, "Why does it matter?" His quote. They asked him who's going to call the plays, and he said, "Why does it matter? I don't think it's really important."
Luke,
I guess it gives you the ability to point the finger. It's always like, well, someone's got to call it. Someone's got to do it.
Anybody that knows the name Satterfield can tell you why it matters. It matters.
I think it matters. Like, I think you kind of
matters a little.
You have
it matters a little bit.
Somebody's got. It's like the quarterback standing out there. Is just no one got like? Is just kind of a bunch of people yelling at him? Like, what?
Oh, it matters. So it's just interesting because Fickell was like, because he was the D coordinator back in the day.
Yeah.
With Ohio State, and then went to Cincinnati. Did great. Was a great head coach there. Comes to Wisconsin, but it's for his defensive pedigree. And so if he's calling the offensive plays, I'm just trying to imagine like Tony White like becoming an offensive coordinator all of a sudden. Yeah. I'm just like what? How does that go?
They said they're going to have. I'll have to pull up the name. They did say they're going to have. I think like whoever it is.
Somebody's stepping up from it. Okay, well, I mean that would be good.
Kenny Guyton is allegedly going to call the plays. Who has never called plays before?
Never.
He's the wide receivers coach who has never.
Welcome to the show.
He's never called plays before.
The deal with them though is just that like they are in a little bit of a panic moment. Like they need to make a bowl game. We really need to make a bowl game. They had Ches Malusi, their starting running back, who was a stud. He was doing great. He stepped away from football earlier this year. Second season in a row, they've lost their starting quarterback. They lost Tanner Mordecai to the fractured hand last year. So this year, they cannot pass the ball, and they cannot seem to rely on the run game. Like they've had a couple of burst moments, I guess, but they are not passing the ball well, and they can't get out of their own way. And so you have 2 programs that are I could not
exact same.
We are literally the same. Yeah. I mean, the same. Like we're both 5-5. We are both desperately need a bowl game. We both have a second-year head coach. We are 100th for Nebraska and 96th in scoring offenses. They're both averaging between 23 and 24 points a game. It's unbelievable how close we are. And so Wisconsin has 19 rushing touchdowns on the year. What I think about them is like they've done a good job putting away like lesser opponents and doing it on the ground. We're built to stop the run. I feel like we have been all year. I think we've been a little bit better stopping the run than we have been the pass all year. They have 16 rushing touchdowns in their 5 wins. In their 5 losses, they have 3 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, that's it right there. If they can't run the ball, if they can't score on the ground, they're not gonna. Their offense is not gonna go.
The over/under's at 42. That seems insane. Like that's got to be an under. Like this game's going to be 10-7, is it not?
Oh yeah.
Like their defense is outstanding. I mean, the fact that they shut down Oregon the way they did, they shut down Penn State the way that they did. Like their defense is extremely strong. I just think they're not going to score, and I don't think we're going to score. So I think it's going to be 10-7. It's going to come down to these excruciating like 2 or 3 plays that are going to make or break the game, and a couple holding calls, and God bless America. Like one of these has to. We're favored, which is insane to me. We're favored by 2.5 still.
You're catching a team in turmoil, and what has been like really frustrating over these past several years is how many times we've had. I mean, USC was a great example.
USC was 1-5. USC was 1-5. USC was 1-5 in 1-score games.
Yeah,
like they were ready to lose that game. UCLA had lost 4 straight games. USC had lost 4 of 5. These guys have lost 3 straight. Like we were like,
these teams are reeling. And they're on the ropes, and all you need is that knockout blow. And like, we've got to find a way. Like, who is going to be the one that steps up and makes that play and makes it happen? My thoughts are this: like, well, we can start like actually getting into kind of our overall breakdown. So, our running game versus their defense. Their defense probably wins that battle. Our passing game versus their defense. Good defense. Solid. Raiola needs to step up. I think we have been scared to criticize him, and it's fine because he is a freshman. I get it. But we are, game number 11? 11th time starting. It's still a freshman, but it's not so new anymore. There has been 2 plays every game where you are like, you got to make one of those, and that's all it would have taken. He had Banks wide open against USC.
Wide open.
That needed to be a touchdown. He had everybody's pointing to that Liebentritt in the end zone versus Illinois. That's a win.
Yeah.
It's a bowl game, right there.
Missed a bunch
either of those plays is a bowl game, right there.
He's what's like. It's hard to like put pressure on the kid as he's a freshman, he's 18, like he's super young and all that. But now, like if you're a superstar, you got to live up to it. And the fact that like I'm looking at the underdog numbers right now for him of his over/under set at, or his higher or lower is set at 201 passing yards. But under. It's guaranteed. But what's killing me about him too is like I even think back to Adrian Martinez of like the last freshman we had starting, and Adrian was putting up 350 yards a game every game. Like his issue was like backbreaking turnovers, backbreaking like things, but it was like he was electric. Like Dylan's going like kind of the opposite, or like remember like so Adrian's first year we finished 4-2, and it was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna win the Heisman next year. This has gone the opposite. Like those last 6 games for Adrian's freshman year, he was averaging 300 yards and 4 touchdowns every single game. And he was fast. And he was doing all sorts of stuff. And you're like, God, if this guy just has another year in the offense, it's going to be unbelievable. For Dylan, you're like, I mean, God, he was good against UTEP. I'm looking at, so it's over under at passing yards at 200. He's gone 198, 177, 152. Like, I mean, he's these are on 38 attempts. Like 38 attempts, you can't complete 200 yards passing. It's brutal.
Yeah, 5 yards per pass play was his average against USC, and like that's insane. That's what your running offense should be doing. 5 yards a run.
Do you think higher or lower 1.5 passing touchdowns?
Lower. I think that we are like we love to pound it in with Dowdell, and we have no like red zone offense at this point. I would love to see. So I will back it up and I will say like my hope for Raiola is that we completely buy into whatever Dana Holgerson is selling and just let that man cook. Like I don't care what he's saying in the presses. I don't care what the man knows how to coach offense. Let him do it.
Yeah.
And let him put points on the board. And that's my hope for Raiola. And until that happens, though, like, we haven't seen the proof quite yet.
So if he goes under on passing yards, under 201 on passing yards, passing touchdowns at 1.5, probably lower than that. Rushing and receiving touchdowns at 0.5, definitely lower than that. He's not going to get a rushing touchdown. And higher or lower than 0.5 interceptions, he probably has another interception. That's probably that one.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's had a rough month. Wisconsin they've only had 4 interceptions on the year.
Oh, really? All right.
So,
okay.
That gives me some hope. Like, not exactly ball hawks taking it away every single game.
Okay, so rushing game, and you said rushing our rushing offense versus their rushing defense. I don't feel great about. Yeah. Dowdell at 45.5 rushing yards against their very stout defensive line.
Yeah, so
higher or lower?
I would have to say lower based on their performance against Oregon. I'm looking now, and they allowed Oregon ran the ball 40 times. Out of their 70-something plays, they ran it 40 times for 136 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. If we ever go over 100 yards, we are normally doing it by committee. Gosh, I'd have to say that probably is an under for Dowdell at 40-something yards.
I think it's under. I mean, he went 52, 61, 60.
Let me give you the asterisk. Game before that, Iowa beat the crud out of Wisconsin.
On the running game.
Guess how many times they passed?
Oh, I don't even know.
Wisconsin 20. Iowa ran the ball 54 times on Wisconsin. Oof. For 329 yards.
Oof.
6.09 yards per carry.
So that works.
That gives me some hope. Guess how many times they passed? 10.
10 passes. That's great. That's what they're going to do to us in 2 weeks.
Iowa threw the ball 10 times.
Brutal.
So Penn State ran the ball for 173, Northwestern 127, Rutgers 168. So I guess I don't think their rush defense is as stout as it has always been. Most of their opponents that they have played have gone over 4 yards per carry. Penn State did 4.9, Northwestern 4.1, Rutgers 4.8 yards a carry, Purdue 3.8, USC 4.3, Alabama 5.3. So, there's yards to be had, I think, on the defense, what I'm saying, but probably not.
Okay, passing-wise, we've got Barney's at 36, Nayor's at 34, and Banks is at 33. So basically like 33 for each of them. You need one of those guys to have a big game.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be?
Barney's been reliable. Fun fact, Ja'Cory Barney now leads the team in receptions. He's got 40 on the year, and it's the most by like 7 or 8, I think now.
They're all like behind the line of scrimmage. It's like,
but he's our guy that can stretch the field, and I think Holgerson absolutely is going to love a guy like him.
Yeah, but he only had 2 catches against USC.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to say so Nayer has not been reliable. Like he went for 80-something yards against UCLA, but over the course of the last month, you have not seen him get more than 4 catches in a game. And so 30 yards for him, if you're going to average, between 10 and 15 yards a catch, he's got to get 3 or more. And the numbers are just saying he's not really getting there. So Nayer's questionable. He's someone that could go for 200 or 0.
Correct.
Banks is probably a little bit more of a reliable choice, I think. And then
Nayer went 15, 89, 18 in the last 3 games. So he had 15, 89, 18.
There you go. Yeah. But
so if you were to bet on those offense, so add in Raiola's stats with the running backs. Like pick 3 of those that you feel most confident in. I feel my number 1 is Raiola under 201 passing yards, which is terrible to say, but I think that one's happening. And I think
Right.
Banks over 33. I like, and Dowdell over 45. Those are my 3. I think under 200, over 45 rushing, and then over 30 from Banks as like one guy who makes plays. What are your 3 on the offensive side?
I would say, so Ja'Cory Barney's over under for receptions is 3.5 as well.
That's a good one.
So I would take the 36.5 receiving yards for Ja'Cory Barney. He's just like, he's got the ability to do that in his first touch of the game, you know? And the rest of these have just mainly kind of been possession guys. Nayer's too volatile. He's up and down. And then Banks, I would say Banks actually, that's a pretty good one. 33.5 receiving yards for Banks is like, my goodness.
That one feels good.
You better be getting to that. We're not winning if he's not getting there.
Well, those are definitely like the winning and losing stats.
So give me Banks, give me Barney, give me the under overall.
I also kind of like, actually, this is an interesting one. John Hole at 2.5 extra points made. That really gets down to like, are we going to score 3 touchdowns?
And 1.5 field goals made.
Will we score 3 touchdowns?
Not on offense.
Not on offense. Okay. Well,
I think
sells that.
Like, I could see us beating 20, but Nebraska's not scored more than 28 points on a Big Ten opponent. It is hard to see us facing one of the best defenses we've faced all year suddenly turning the tide on all of this.
Yeah, not great. All right, but on the Wisconsin side, someone
talk about Braden Locke. We're going to start.
Not good. He's not good.
Braden Locke stinks, which is great. You know why that's great? Because we only beat bad quarterbacks, and the quarterbacks Nathan Kaliakmanis and Hudson Card are so stinky poo-poo that they.
The bad news is Braden Locke is a backup quarterback, though, and backup quarterbacks usually get their first wins against us.
Jesus, this is morbid. But listen to his stats for the last month. Like this is what gets Phil Longo fired. 12 for 28 passing against Oregon, 42.9%. 15 for 29, 51.7% against Iowa. 22 for 42. They threw the ball 42 times against Penn State for 52.4%. And then 14 of 24 for 58.3% against Northwestern. He has only surpassed 60% completion rate 2 times in his 8 starts, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 starts. He has only passed 60% completion 2 times, and it was against Purdue and Rutgers. His average yards per attempt, he has only gone over 10 yards per attempt. Actually, he's only gone over 9 yards per attempt once, and that was also against Purdue. He's only gone over 240 yards passing 1 time. That was also that game against Purdue. So I like where we're at there. I think that we can keep up with their receivers. I think that he is struggling with his accuracy. He is very interception prone. He has a 9 touchdown and 9 interception ratio, 9-9. And he does not have, or he has 1 game in which he's thrown more touchdowns than interceptions. 1. And that was Purdue. And he had 3 touchdowns in that game, but 2 interceptions there too.
If you're not accurate, you're not accurate. And that's not like, I mean, he was in 2023, he completed 50% of his passes, and this season as a whole, he's at 55. Like these, you know, if you're not accurate, not accurate. That's like the old Mike Leach thing is like, if you're either accurate or not, you're either like a kid that can complete a pass or you can't. And he appears to be on that inaccurate side, which is great for us. Like, he was a transfer. I guess I'm like looking it up. He went to Mississippi State originally and then transferred in 2023. They've just had a string of like Tanner Mordecai and then Tyler Van Dyke. Like all these quarterbacks have really flamed out for them.
It's super unlucky. I mean, like they haven't been able to do what they wanted to do, and like Phil Longo's now out of a job as a result. I think the bigger problem for Wisconsin has just been like they have not been able to run the ball reliably when they like. I mean, literally since I was born, that's all they wanted to do is run the ball. And then when Ches Malusi steps away, and you're kind of, in scramble mode a little bit, and their O line is just not really getting it done. So they're trying to go pass heavy and trying to go pass heavy. I think like they're going to come out and have the most basic offensive plan imaginable, and they're either going to beat us up or they're not going to be able to do anything again. And I am very hopeful that Tony White can scheme up a defense to stop this offense because they are not exactly dynamic. Like they might be solid, but they're not like dynamic. They're not. They have nowhere near the playmakers that USC has. They don't have the quarterback.
The Longo thing was interesting because, like, I was listening to some of their podcasts today. How they're like, he is a pass guy. He's a pass first guy, and that's a dramatic. Like this is their Bill Callahan. This is their like. We're gonna go away from like. Yeah, don't say that name. Well, no, but it's like they're.
You can say that name when you're insulting other schools. That's fine.
but like, so Bill Callahan comes in. He's like, hey, we're gonna run the West Coast offense. This is literally Phil Longo's thing in North Carolina. Was he just he threw the heck out of the ball down there, and like so for him to bring that up to Wisconsin, and then Wisconsin was like, oh yeah, we're just gonna like install this air raid when we have the best offensive line and the best running backs in the country. It's a bold move, and it hasn't worked out. And even like all these Wisconsin fans are like, all right, he's pulling the plug on the whole thing, and he's got to go a dramatically different direction. And this offensive coordinator hire for him is going to be like the biggest hire he makes, basically, because if he's not going to get to hire a third offensive coordinator. Like this is it. You put your career on this. Like if he can't turn the thing around,
the defense is like not the problem if they can figure it out on offense.
Yeah,
I would go back to their roots. I mean, they do have.
But it is like, do you keep throwing the ball like this much without Longo, or to your point, are they just going to run the ball 50 times? But our rush defense is good. Like we don't struggle with rush defense. We struggle with, the quick. Well, yeah, but that was also because like they spread the field on us. I don't know. We didn't do anything well, but yeah, I guess they were gashing us. I guess I'm just thinking of like. Illinois carved us up. Indiana carved us up on these short little crossing routes. We got carved up by like, Ohio State figured it out. Like all these guys, but rushing defense, we historically have done decently well.
It'll be interesting to see how they approach it. They've got Tawi Walker, and he is a transfer from Oklahoma. He's actually averaging 4.7 yards per carry. He's got 10 rushing touchdowns on the year already. He's a pretty dynamic player. He runs the ball 18 times per game for 85 yards a game. So they're going to feed him, and I feel like they're probably going to feed him relentlessly. I think their receiving core, we should be able to keep up with them a little bit better than like USC's receiving core, for example, even UCLA's or Ohio State's. Like this is a little bit less of dynamic playmakers, but they do have a couple dudes that we're going to have to watch out for there. Let's see, running through it. So Vinny Anthony, he's their kind of one of their lead dogs. He's got 28 receptions. He's averaging 17 yards per reception. Will Pauling, he's their most reliable. He's got 42 catches on the year.
He's hurt.
Love that. Didn't see it.
He's hurt, and so is their safety. They got two dudes who are like really banged up at the Oregon game.
Wooler. I was looking for updates on Wooler. That would be huge if he's out. But what this ends up coming down to is like if our D line can stop them running the ball, and that Braden Locke's going to throw, he's going to throw a pick. I mean, it's a great opportunity for our fourth pick six of the year, and we've needed every single one.
Yeah, I mean, they just have owned us so bad. It's so hard to like get off of this, and like their record is deceptive. Like 5 losses, of which three of them are against teams that are going to playoff. Like an Alabama, Penn State, and Oregon loss. That's a tough schedule. That is 3 top 10 teams that they've lost to. But then USC crushed them and Iowa crushed them. So it's like, all right, USC and Iowa aren't that good either. But it's tough to say which team's going to show up. Like they beat the heck out of Purdue, they beat the heck out of Northwestern, but beat the heck out of Rutgers. They get the potential to run it up for sure. But I think this is going to be close. It's just going to come down to it's going to come down to all the things we talked about at the top of the hour of you cannot have this compounding mistakes of bad timeouts and missed interceptions and missed calls and inability to execute on a play. Like if you do those things, it's over. They're just going to find a way to win like they have every year for the last 10 years. But
it's amazing to actually see, just on that note, those backbreaking mistakes. If I had to pick one single thing that we've been, I don't want to say vastly improved, but slightly improved at, it's our turnover margin. Wisconsin's -5 in their turnover margin on the year. And I mean, that could play a huge role. They've lost 9 interceptions and then 7 fumbles. That's a good amount. That's 1 to 2 times. That's 1 to 2 times per game over the course of 10 games. They're averaging 1.6 turnovers a game. So I mean, this is where our we're going to rely on our defense again. We knew it was going to come down to this.
But that's what they want, and this is what we had last year. That was this is why we won games last year, and we just haven't been able to have these guys step up to win a game. They should want this. They should want the game on their shoulders. Tony White, we know he can coach a good defense. We just haven't seen it this year. But I guess this is kind of my my parting
spurts.
Yeah, you see spurts, but then they don't finish the game.
The spring flower, and then you're waiting for the rest of the garden.
Yeah, they just don't play
up because some mole just demolishes your garden.
Also, it's crazy that so it's I'm probably in as dark of a place I've been on the Huskers in a minute, just because you say that, but it's also man, we've been in some dark places, but again, you're somehow. You win either of these 2 games, you win both of these games, it fixes everything. Everything, literally everything is fixed. And if you had said before the season that we're going to come in against Wisconsin, who I thought would be 9-3, and they're 5-5, without their offensive coordinator, without their starting quarterback, without their starting running back, on a 3-game losing streak, you would sign up for that all day. You would also sign up for USC being on a 4 out of 5 game losing streak. You would also sign up for the fact that Iowa's starting quarterback is now out for the season, right? It is could not be set up better for us. Brendan Sullivan's out for the season, and Cade McNamara is also hurt. So you're they're on their 3rd string quarterback. All these games are you've got you got a 4-loss Iowa team and a 5-loss Wisconsin team. This is as good as an opportunity as you possibly have to salvage and save your season. Take it.
Are you going to take it?
Yep. And it's not it's not on us. We're going to be there. There's going to be 90,000 Nebraska fans at the game. Come on, senior day, go out and do it one. Yeah. Literally that game we beat Iowa 2 years ago. We hung on to that for 9 months. It doesn't take much. The bar is so low, but you cannot you just can't lose that. That is so beyond acceptable. To have some pride. I guess that to me is kind of my parting thought of you got it's set up.
Yep. Everything is the fact that we are, after this last month that we have had, the fact that we are favored in the game is
nuts.
Bananas. It's crazy.
Nuts.
It just tells you bettors and Vegas being down on Wisconsin is, it's a scary bet. I don't know if I'd recommend taking the bet, but it's the fact is it's a team in turmoil. They no longer have their offensive leader. They already had a crappy offense. They've got a new guy calling plays. They haven't had an identity all year. We know they're going to play solid defense, but we know that our defense is also our team's advantage. So this is going to come down to which offense has a dude step up. And I trust Raiola over Braden Locke. I think I trust our receivers over their receivers. I think that running back wise, Tari Walker is probably better than anybody that we have. And so, can we stop the run? I think so. I think we're built to do that. I think our D-line's built to do that.
What will continue to be the most
it's gonna be a one-possession game, and Jesus Christ, can we get the monkey off our back?
What will continue to be the most confusing part of the season, no matter how it ends, is the game that we were at, the Colorado game. We absolutely dominated start to finish. Dominated start to finish. Offense, defense, special teams. That Colorado team is going to go to the playoff.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. They are beating the hell out of everybody. And we
It doesn't make sense to peak in your second. How do you peak in your second game?
But to beat Shedeur Sanders is going to be the number one quarterback taken in the draft. They're going to go to the playoff. Travis Hunter is going to be the number one overall player taken and win the Heisman Trophy. And we shut all of them down. And now UCLA comes to town.
God, that was the best weekend of my life.
The best weekend of all time. Like that to me is like to go from like Shedeur Sanders and shutting him down in Lincoln to Braden Locke. I mean, he shouldn't even have a completion. It's like, what are we doing? Where did that team go? And why are if that team shows up, we win this 28-0, but that team has disappeared and they peaked in September. I don't get it.
Oh my God, it's unreal. All right, I'm going to give you some rapid fire underdog fantasy over under. Use promo code HUSKGuys to sign up. When you use HUSKGuys, you get a 50% deposit match. All right, we're speaking of Braden Locke, who is a garbage sack of a quarterback. We think. We'll see. We think. 188.5 passing yards over or under.
Lower.
5.
Lower.
All right, we're going lower on 188.5. I'm literally unlocking this bit as we speak.
Good.
So
lower.
Rayola, longest completion, 38.5 yards.
Higher.
Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna do it.
I'll have one. I think I'll have one.
Do it because it makes no sense, but I'm gonna do it.
But he's also. But I would lock in with the highest level of confidence under 200 yards passing.
Okay. Interesting. We're going to go to Dowdle again. 4.5 receiving yards.
Higher. All we do is throw the screen passes.
It was interesting, because he rarely does that, but with Holgerson last week, our running backs had 9 receptions. That's crazy. Okay. I like that. Tawi Walker, their starting running back. Will he have 80.5 rushing and receiving yards combined?
No.
Wow. I like that. Okay.
Under. Lower.
Under. Okay. Any reasoning?
I think our rush defense is good. Like that. I think our rush defense is good. I think they're in a tailspin on offense, and they scored 3 touchdowns the last 3 games. Yeah, I'm looking at his stats. He had 97 rushing yards against Oregon, so maybe I'm mildly concerned on that. But then he had 50, 52, and 59 the 2 weeks before that. So he isn't exactly like a bruiser every single week. And I don't know. We shut down the Rutgers kid, who's pretty darn good too.
Yeah. My only concern on that line is I just wonder if they're going to feed him because they have nothing else going on. But
that's true. Fair.
All right. So then Ja'Cory Barney, longest reception, 19.5 yards.
Yeah. Higher. He's going to be. I think he's going to be the one that finally has.
He's going to be the one that.
It's either him or Lloyd are going to have one big play. It's just one big play will happen.
Wow.
And it's going to be between him and Lloyd.
Him and Lloyd. I like it. So Pauling's hurt, right? We did, I guess, went over that. Hopefully he misses the game. I hope he recovers.
Hopefully.
I hope he recovers. I hope he recovers. He's a really nice guy. I hope he recovers.
I hope his family has a great holiday. But I just hope he doesn't play.
He should take off through Thanksgiving. Okay, Vinny Anthony. He's their other dog. 40.5 receiving yards for their leading receiver. He is their highest.
At 40.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pauling is on underdog, but
I'll give him higher only because if the quarterback's gonna get desperate, Locke will get desperate and he's gonna look to his guy. 40 is a very small number, so higher.
Okay. And then the final 2 for our guys that are on underdog fantasy, use code HUSKGuys. Pedoni. This one's a tough one. We've got a couple different ones to choose from. So don't believe he has scored yet, which is interesting.
He's due.
You got a multiplier of 2.7 for a touchdown, or you can take him at a 1.0 multiplier for 25.5 receiving yards, or longest reception 14.5.
Yeah, I like the touchdown. I would take the touchdown only because he's due for a touchdown, and that feels like
this could be big money.
That'd be fun. But the yards I don't like. I mean, he had 2 catches for 9 yards last week, 4 catches for 16 yards against UCLA.
Yeah.
And Ohio State, he had 4 for 55. But, like, he seems to not be in the Holgorsen offense, at least.
Yeah.
But
One game sample. But yeah.
One game sample.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's kind of been like that all year. He's like, he either goes off or not. But okay. And then last one is John Hull. We mentioned him earlier. But so I like doing the 5.5 kicking points. So,
yeah,
obviously field goals 3.
That's a field goal and 2 extra points, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, 3 extra points.
Right. Yeah. You'd have to go over 5. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
So 3 and 3. That's
yeah,
tough.
I like that because he might kick 2 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like 2.5 extra points made. I don't think we're gonna score 3 touchdowns.
2 field goals and an extra point. 5.5 kicking points. I mean, you really like calculate that out. 2 field goals and an extra point.
No, it's only 2 field goals.
Or so Jesus, my math is so bad. 2 field goals.
2 field goals.
You got to take higher on that one.
Yeah, I think because that's terrible because that means we're gonna have 2 field goals. But I do not feel like we're gonna have 2.5 extra points made.
Yeah, unless we score on defense, maybe. But I think we're good for 2 touchdowns. All right, I like it. I'm playing this. This is gonna get me. I gotta look at where we are at on this bet. I put this all in. I am looking at oh my god! If I get all 8 correct,
$10,000.
$10 down. $10 down for 960.
Bam, rich.
Done.
All right, folks, we got to wrap this thing up. Thanks for everybody for listening. We have 1,500 folks checking us out. It's amazing the Husker fan support that continues to come in. We're grateful for all you guys for listening to us, as always, even through a just incredibly grinding, struggling season. Let's turn this thing around. I mean, I would kill to have a pod next week where we get to talk and celebrate, which we have not done in over a month. It's like 43 days since our last win. Let's make it happen, folks. Go Big Red. Yep. Check out HuskEyesStore.com. Check out pipeline-turkey.com. We got some great holiday gifts that are coming for you guys. Holgerson's here for you. We got some Holgermania stuff. We got gift boxes, gift baskets. Check them out. Go Big Red. And let's beat Wisconsin.
7-5 with wins. 7-5 with wins over Wisconsin and Iowa. You would take that. You would have taken that for
8-5 if you win a bowl game.
Bam! We're back.
Win the bowl game because we'll face like God knows who in the bowl game, whatever bowl game. All right, folks. Go Big Red.